The following is produced by 5 Star Productions USA, which is solely responsible for its editorial content.
This cancer claims about as many men's lives as breast cancer takes women's lives each year, yet no one likes to talk about it. It's prostate cancer, and it's the second leading cause of cancer death in men. But there are many reasons to remain optimistic. How do you fight prostate cancer? What new weapons are here at last, and what's the best strategy for survival? We've got some good answers for you today on this special edition of Today's Health. This program is brought to you in part by TAP Pharmaceuticals.
Timothy Leary, Frank Zappa, Telly Savalas, Bobby Riggs. These men each live very different lives, but they did have one thing in common: prostate cancer. Hello, I'm Faith Daniels, and this is Today's Health. In this special edition, we're going to explore the second leading cause of cancer death in men: prostate cancer. It used to be that any mention of a man's prostate would make many people blush, but recently we've stopped blushing and started learning.
A popular bestseller claims men are from Mars, women are from Venus. Whether or not men and women are emotionally different can be a subject of debate. But no one can deny that biologically, men and women are not the same, especially when it comes to our reproductive systems. One organ that only males have is called the prostate gland.
The prostate gland is a chestnut-sized or walnut-sized gland that sits just beneath the bladder, and the urethra, or the tube that the urine passes through the prostate. Prostate, therefore, has an impact on how a man voids, but it also has a reproductive role in that it produces the fluid or the semen to transport sperm.
In a young boy, this gland is about the size of a peanut. But when the child reaches puberty, he begins producing testosterone, and the prostate begins to grow. The gland then grows to about the size of a chestnut and remains that size for a number of years. For unknown reasons, at about age 50, the prostate gland may begin to enlarge again. This enlargement can cause a condition called benign prostatic hyperplasia, where the gland becomes so large it puts pressure on the bladder and urethra and can cause symptoms like frequent urination, inability to empty one's bladder completely, or a very weak urinary flow. About the same time a man's prostate starts to grow again, however, he becomes at higher risk for a much more serious disease called prostate cancer.
Prostate cancer is the #1 cancer diagnosed in men, but the second most common cause of cancer deaths in men. It trails behind only lung cancer. Each year, over 300,000 men will be told they have prostate cancer, and over 40,000 will die from this disease.
Cancer is basically the out-of-control growth of cells. And in the case of prostate cancer, it's where the prostate has now started to grow out of control and therefore can spread to other parts of the body and cause problems. There are a number of ways to detect prostate cancer. The digital rectal exam has basically been used for decades. The physician is able to insert a finger in the rectum and feel one surface of the prostate. Therefore, if there are any abnormalities that might suggest prostate cancer, can be detected in this way. The PSA, which stands for prostate-specific antigen, is a chemical that's made by the prostate cells. The level of PSA in the body is measured through a simple blood test. That level can be affected by many different problems, including prostate cancer, infections, or even manipulation or surgery.
Awareness of this disease and an active effort to detect it early may help to keep many vital men alive and healthy and prevent them from losing their prime to a deadly disease.
The word cancer can strike fear into anyone's heart, but people shouldn't be so terrified. Most cancers, including prostate cancer, can be treated and even cured. The key is understanding the disease so that we can get rid of the irrational fears and replace them with a reasonable treatment.
No matter how healthy we try to be, it often seems that cancer is a subversive enemy that we're almost powerless to stop.
When we want to ask what the cause of prostate cancer is, the real answer is we do not know. There are some influences, however, that we are learning about. One, there's a genetic factor. They're working on a gene, they're trying to find a gene for prostate cancer. We know that in Afro-Americans in the U.S., the incidence of prostate cancer is almost twice that in Caucasians. We know that there may be an environmental factor. Why do I say that? Orientals have a very low incidence of prostate cancer. When they move to Hawaii, it goes up, and when Orientals live in the United States, it goes up almost approaching that of their people that live around them.
If you are diagnosed with prostate cancer, don't panic. The 5-year survival rate for this disease, when it's found at any stage, is 87%. When it's found in an earlier stage, the prospects are even better.
My prostate cancer was detected surprisingly as a growth of quite a bit, because once they got in there, they found out it was the size of a grapefruit laying against my bladder.
You know, the stages of prostate cancer basically are divided into A, B, C, and D. A means basically that it was a cancer that was found with an elevated PSA. A B, prostate cancer, is where you feel a nodule in the prostate, a hard area, but again it's confined. A stage C cancer, that's getting into the incurable stages because it's spread beyond the prostate, locally growing away from it, and the risk of having that spread to lymph nodes is substantially more than it is for a B lesion. And then stage D refers to disease that's in the bone.
I have found one thing since my operation, that early detection is very, very important. And even if you've got family history of prostate cancer, it's even more important. Men in their 40s and 50s should be examined with a PSA at least once a year.
Prostate cancer at any stage does not have to be your nemesis. There are treatments available and you have options. The key is to see your doctor regularly so that if a tumor appears, you can develop and launch a strategy against a vicious enemy.
More men are surviving prostate cancer than ever before. What are the available treatments and how do they work? The answers differ as the cancer progresses. We'll show you why when we return on Today's Health.
One of the first things most men diagnosed with prostate cancer want to know is, what are their options? Fortunately, they do have some. The treatments to consider vary with the patient's needs and the stage of the cancer. Understanding the options is key to making an appropriate choice.
When I was diagnosed with prostate cancer, I was devastated, to say the least. And I knew I had a fight on my hands.
When a man is diagnosed with prostate cancer, he faces several treatment options and many important questions.
For men whose tumor is detected early, when it's still in stage A, they have the most options and the most likelihood of a treatment that is considered curative. At this stage, the tumor is very small and located solely within the prostate gland.
Stage A, you have various options. One is radical surgery or radical prostatectomy. You have other options including external beam radiation or radiation from the outside. And the other options are internal radiation or prostate seed implant.
Radiation therapy is a process that uses high-energy X-rays to kill cancer cells in the prostate. As an alternative to using an external beam, sometimes radioactive seeds are implanted in the prostate to keep the radiation more localized.
It was discussed that there is the radical gives you a certain amount of time, and that this new process with the radium seeds gives me about 85%. With radiation treatment, the only side effects I found that it made me tired. But There wasn't no problem at all.
In stage B, the tumor is still located entirely within the prostate. Most patients at this stage are treated using the same strategies as in stage A. Surgical removal of the prostate and external or internal radiation are the two most common courses of action.
So stage B tumor, we fear that there may be disease outside the prostate gland that should be addressed with either external radiation first, followed by the sedation plan, or just proceed directly to the external radiation alone.
I'm on the upswing, especially with the PSA. Last time was 0.002 from a count of 17.5 when I first went in. I kept doing all my activities, my hunting, my fishing, my trap shooting, my traveling. With the radiation going on, I didn't stop for that. And it was a little difficult, but at least I was out, and my mind was occupied, and I didn't dwell on that terrible word of cancer.
Neither surgery nor radiation are a welcome choice in anybody's life. But when battling prostate cancer, these options may offer the best hope for a cure.
When prostate cancer spreads from a localized to a widespread problem, doctors have to change their strategy in fighting the disease. A man still has options, but the battle is a lot more complex. The goals of therapy also change, from curing the disease to sending it into remission.
When fighting a cancer that's localized in one area, complete removal of the tumor is often possible. But when the cancer has spread to other areas of the body, treatment is no longer simple.
Stage C specifically refers to prostate cancer that has spread just beyond the capsule or the confines of the gland. So that it's no longer truly local disease, it's not organ-confined disease, it's now regional disease. It has not yet, however, spread into the lymph nodes or out into the bones.
The goal of treatment becomes stopping the growth and spread of the cancer, and the focus moves to what is fueling the disease, which is the hormone testosterone.
Prostate cancer growth depends on testosterone. In the absence of testosterone, you cannot have prostate cancer growth.
One common stage C treatment that focuses on removing the tumor and killing the remaining cancer is the surgical removal of the prostate in combination with radiation treatments.
I was 46 years old, feeling in really perfect health and not knowing that any of this was going on. The treatment options that I had available to me were hormonal treatment, radiation treatment, or chemotherapy. I had to do a lot of soul searching, trying to figure out which one would be best for me.
Hormonal therapy is when a man takes an LHRH analog injection, like Lupron Depot.
An LHRH analog is a medication that is usually injected and works in the brain to tell the male sex glands, the testicles, to stop making testosterone.
Like other prostate cancer treatment options, LHRH analogs can cause impotence. Sometimes a combination therapy using LHRH analogs and androgen blocking drugs are used.
What we're trying to do, or what we're trying to achieve when providing that combination, is to get total androgen or total male hormone deprivation. For someone who has reached a stage D prostate cancer, or in other words, a prostate cancer that has already spread beyond the prostate and is now out into the lymph nodes or into the bones, our options are really limited to hormonal manipulation.
The goal of the treatment is to improve quality of life.
Don't let the statistics, don't let what you read affect your lifestyle from the standpoint of the scary things about the side effects. If your mind is a very important thing, and if you stay positive in what you're trying to accomplish, it's going to work wonders for you.
A battle against prostate cancer can be difficult, and it can leave its mark on a man. But even in the later stages, prostate cancer is treatable, and most men can survive it.
The disease can be deadly, and the solution's complex. But there's understanding and support available as men with prostate cancer help each other in the fight of their lives. Stay with us. We'll be right back on Today's Health.
No man is an island, and fighting a life-threatening disease is an emotional struggle as well as a physical one. When the cancer also threatens the core of a man's masculinity, the psychological battle becomes even more intense, and having support can make coping easier.
I recently got diagnosed with prostate cancer. My PSA at first was 13.7. It's now 11.1. I'm considering some wisdom. I need some help. I'm afraid. I don't know what to do. I need some help.
The battle against prostate cancer can be just as devastating to a man emotionally as it is physically.
A wife or significant other, along with family and friends, often represent the first line of support that can help a man cope. But prostate cancer is a very personal disease, and many men are turning to support groups as a way to stay current on available treatments, evaluate different strategies, and share their experiences with other men in similar situations.
I'd like to know what you think of the various methods of treatment, and I'm sure some gentleman back here who said, I don't know what to do, would love to know what you think is the various methods of treatments.
A recent study found that women with breast cancer who attended breast cancer support groups survived longer than those who didn't. This suggests an important link between a person's emotional and mental health and their success in dealing with all aspects of cancer. If you're interested in finding a support group for prostate cancer, a good place to start is either your local branch of the American Cancer Society or the support group Man to Man, which is strictly men speaking with men.
Talking of radiation, doesn't the radiation damage that it's done, doesn't the body regenerate itself?
Well, I feel as though the support group is very important. You meet people, you tell them of your ailments, they tell you of their ailments.
We didn't have any family really to discuss it with, and well, when we started going there, it sort of opened up everything to me, and I was able to cope with it much better.
Support groups can provide strategies for helping you deal with your cancer, as well as clear any hurdles you may encounter. The Beatles sang a song called I Get By With a Little Help From My Friends. Well, that song is never more true than when you're fighting a deadly disease.
If you have any questions about any issue that concerns your health and well-being, you can probably find the answer on the internet. In fact, our Today's Health website at www.vstar.com is loaded with information and links to other in-depth health sites. So log on and get the answers you want. When cancer develops in a man's prostate, it can infect his entire life and those of everyone around him. Statistics always group everyone into a number, but each case is different, and every individual battling prostate cancer has his own unique story. This is one of them.
When I found out I had prostate cancer, I couldn't believe it, and I was scared and upset. You really don't know what you really don't know what you're going to say because it's just a shock to you. When a doctor tells you you have prostate cancer, I mean, it's just.
And when he came through the door, he looked at me, and I was standing right here in front of the table, and he looked at me and he says, "Well, I got it." "You got it?" "Well, the doctor told me I have cancer." And I can still see and feel that moment. It's like you're in a time warp.
Frank Castronova is a true example of someone that has survived prostate cancer and was one of these patients that actually had just an incidental finding of an abnormal PSA.
After Dr. Singer got through with the test, what if you don't do anything? He says, well, in about 6 years it'll go into your bones and you could die.
I wanted to be able to have his cancer because I knew it was so much more painful for him than for me to lose a part of my body that's important.
I think the waiting is the worst.
But Frank, like most other younger patients, are more concerned that they're around to see their children and their grandchildren many years down the road, and did select to have radical prostatectomy.
When Dr. Singer came in on a Wednesday and told me they got the results back that the prostate was confined, the cancer was confined in the prostate, and it didn't spread, it felt great. So the prostate was out, and that was it. Now that the surgery is over, the cancer's out, you feel great. Your mind is relieved.
It's like it never happened almost. It's like it was a dream, a bad dream, but a dream, and we were lucky. It had a good ending.
There's a good iron shot. I feel lucky that my life is going on.
You beat it.
I beat it.
Prostate cancer has become the most diagnosed cancer in America. As notable men come forward and announce that they have it, this deadly form of cancer is finally coming out from behind closed doors. Hopefully, this new awareness will help more men take action to detect prostate cancer early, and ultimately, the increased attention will put us on the road to a cure. I'm Faith Daniels. For more information about the topic we discussed today, visit the Today's Health website at www.vstar.com. And join us again next time as we get right to the heart of matters affecting your life on Today's Health.
This has been a presentation of 5 Star Productions USA, which is solely responsible for its editorial content.